name is Miles McHenry. I'm the technical lead, or the team lead for the technical support team, rather. I'm also the resident team expert on enterprise services products, so mostly Cricket features and nuance. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but anyways, Cricket stuff. The resident expert on that, so I handle the incoming tickets from them, unless they're payments related.
So, Miles, thank you. Thanks for joining me for this. You have been in this team lead role for, I don't know, maybe a year, maybe more.
Less than that, yeah. We just formed this team. It was a not an existing team at the time when it was sort of kicked off. I'd say December of last year, 2019. Uh, Sort of since then, I've recruited and brought together a crew of 7 other people, and yeah,
So I don't want to preload a bunch of questions. I'm going to ask you what the need is that drove this team. But can we just look back? Where were you uh, before that, or like
yeah.
how did you arrive at this team?
Sure. Yeah, I came on to IQ Metrics as a quality assurance analyst back, say about 4 years ago now. Can't remember what year that was exactly, but I was with, I guess, the then incarnation of enterprise delivery, which was still an integrations team at the time. They then split off to become Cricket focused, and I stayed on for that whole ride. Picked up a couple of side roles along the way, and then I felt it was a good time to make the transition to a new role last year, last in December.
Thank you. So what was the business need? Because this isn't just a new role. This is a new team that got created.
Yeah, so I guess there had been a previous incarnation of technical support that ended up getting sort of shifted away. The team members ended up leaving, but it was decided that they wanted to spin up a better level, a more technical level of support for the items that get reported in Zendesk. And the idea at the time, because of the big QA shakeup happening in the product circle, was to capitalize on that and give some of those product knowledge experts in the company an opportunity to keep practicing the skills that they, I guess, had honed over that time, or were just those were kind of their skill sets. So triage, um, that sort of thing, defect triage. Yeah.
So what's the nature of this is probably really simple for you, but what's the nature of what arrives at technical support versus the first tier? Do I call them tiers?
Yeah, we're trying to move away from that because there's well, for a number of reasons that I think are maybe a tangent for another time. But yeah, we just can they're customer support and we're technical support. The difference really is just that customer support is the sort of first line of fire, I guess. They're in the trenches. They take phone calls directly. They answer web chats, and they also get email tickets that come in. Um, they will then, do their best to resolve them based on their troubleshooting knowledge and documentation. And then for anything that they can't solve, they will escalate that up to us, and we're the choke point between those tickets or those production incidents that are a little more complicated and the development team. So if it's still a config issue or something else that's maybe a little more of a rabbit hole, the aim is that we figure that out and still prevent those from getting to the developer team. That kind of work is necessary, and then also help document real bugs and real gaps.
In my very simple viewpoint of it, there's standard challenges that we see consistently, and certainly support just manages those. I think our support folks are also really skilled at adapting when even a bit of strangeness comes in. But when it really requires some further investigation, like is investigation the word for what you guys do a lot?
Yeah, triage and investigation. You do want to make sure that you're the best person to look into a certain item. Everyone on the team tends to work with a specific product area in mind, but we've all got some cross training. Um, but there's also a good chance that Cricket's a good example. Their tickets will come to me, but they could be anything from a payments to a core reporting issue. So it's knowing if you're the best person to look into something, and then kind of going from there. And then yes, investigation is a huge part of it.
So it sounds like what you guys do is really simple, routine, and never demanding. No, of
Our
course that's
ticket
not true. What's
volumes might
demanding?
speak otherwise.
So
Yeah,
what's demanding? Just the volume?
the volume has been a consistent thing even with the economic slowdown we've seen. I think maybe it's because you get a lot of people in the corporate offices who are still working with our clients and partners, and so they're maybe digging up old stuff that they hadn't gotten to in a while. But yeah, a number of reasons, but we have had a steady influx of work. Another challenge is also being a new team and a domain that's kind of still up for debate and definition. We do still have challenges where requests get sent to us that maybe oughtn't, and then just educating people on process is actually a pretty big part of the job right now.
So maybe this team hasn't been formed in this style long enough to answer this, but I'm going to try it out. Has the nature of the client's problems changed over time? Are the complexity of them or
I
what they're
think
trying to accomplish?
I I think it's a good question. I think over time the complexity goes up because the complexity of our software does. There's always something new to pick up and learn. The products themselves might be simple. It's just the sheer volume of knowledge, and then keeping track of legacy items that teams might I don't want to say intentionally abandon, but sometimes a team gets dissolved and moved away one way, and they've got a list of accountabilities. One of them might be scheduled job reporting. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. And the next team that inherits it doesn't have a resident expert. They've got some documentation, but yada yada. Meanwhile, the resident expert's often another part of the company, and yeah, the end result is that you've got this product that we still support in a way. It's still out in production, but less and less people know about it. So it's maintaining and trying to archive that kind of knowledge too. That's a challenge. It just adds a layer of extra work and complexity. I think in a different way than a purely technical sense.
Uh, you mentioned before like this sort of crossover or overlap responsibility specifically about cricket. Uh, is cricket just one of those areas of familiarity and expertise that you guys have to address, or is there just you deal with it because you're Miles, or
um, I don't know that I have a clear answer for that one. I deal with it, yeah, because I have the background knowledge, and I just happen to be the best suited person on the team to tackle some of those. But cricket is just they're one of those enterprise level clients that has a lot of demands, and we've promised them a higher degree of service. White glove service, I believe, is the term. So
yeah.
yeah, it kind of is everyone's duty on the team to be accountable to that level of standard that we have promised or uh, set the expectations for.
So part of the audience that I anticipate for things like this might just be people in IQ metrics, just wanting to do interviews like this themselves, and they just want to see different aspects of our business. It might be for people outside of IQ metrics, saying what kind of work gets done. Uh, Regarding your uh, focus, what are the functional skills or strengths that people most need to be successful there?
Communication is huge. Sort of being able to be that intermediary person who's, you're talking to clients who may or may not be technically versed. You generally want to default into layperson terms when you're talking to a client on a ticket, um, but in a way that you get them also enough context and information on, whatever it is they're reporting. I'd say most commonly my team gets what are classified as severity 2 and 3 and lower defects. The severity 1 show stopping issue will go through incident management. And so for us, yeah, that, and then being able to, I'd say, take the initiative and drive to follow through on an investigation. There can be a lot of work at times. Reproducing a bug in a test environment can sometimes take you weeks, depending on whether how stable the test environment is, whether you've got a payment device in lockdown is it's a current challenge for people sometimes. Just a number of things, test data. Um, so the drive to follow through on that is a huge asset or character quality that we look for. Product knowledge built up at IQ, I think, is critical. We don't technical support doesn't recruit directly off the street. We hire internally pretty much exclusively, um, because it's just so critical, to succeed on this team. Yeah.
But even if they can't come off the street because of product knowledge, there's a piece in there about people need to be quick studies, maybe that they need to be able to pick this stuff up and
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if I would almost think at IQ that's a universal
true.
ask. There is a big, big breadth of knowledge. I say, willingness to step outside your comfort zone and learn new products and new features is also pretty key. Um,
You know what I didn't expect is when I asked you like what skills, the first two that I to summarize what I heard was the communication with that person, like the emotional intelligence to sort of figure out how to connect with that person stuff, and then the diligence and perseverance to chase down an issue. I didn't expect the first two pieces to be so non-technical. Like
yeah,
just you just got to be um,
well, and that's the thing, right? We're not developers, and a lot of us, I'd say, the background of anyone on the team is, yeah, non code based. We have some people with some networking skills. We've got some former QAs, former people from frontline customer support. So we're expected to have some intermediate level understanding of, say, the back end. So SQL skills would be a good example. Being able to use applications like Fiddler for troubleshooting, Postman. Those would all be technical skills, technical assets, but not necessarily a prerequisite so much as just, I'd say, the personal qualities and the drive.
this is so good. Excuse me. I'm going to be greedy and ask one more question before I let you go. Uh, what's the trend for the future for you guys? Like what do you need to prepare for?
Yeah,
We
we want. Oh, sorry. Yeah, skill sharing, preventing the siloing of knowledge. It's a tightrope in a sense, because for a product area like payments, for example, you've got tons of different products, features, and several product teams developing stuff at a time, contractors as well. And so staying on top of even that body of knowledge alone is its own ongoing task. So we've got two people working on payments. I could easily see a third person fitting in well with the workload, and those people would probably spend most of their time just focused on payments, getting them training in other areas of our products. Um, you want to do that to prevent further siloing, but there's limits. And I think that payments is a good example. There's other bodies of knowledge that have a little more overlap, like say core integrations, cricket functions. There's overlap with those. Partner tickets, our API support tickets, and integrations also have big overlap. So there's definitely areas and room to do cross training. So that's the big challenge I think right now is doing that, and also um, finding ways to collaborate better with customer support, because the tiered structure doesn't really what's the word I'm looking for, jive with DevOps as a philosophy. The trend of the future seems to be something called swarming, which is much more collaborative. Um, where if a problem comes in, presumably someone from customer support could ping people, and an expert or two from our team would come on and help step them through the problem in real time. We're not quite there yet because just of the backlog that technical support currently faces, we wouldn't have the time to jump on a live call with someone, but we might be able to get to a scenario like that.
I, Miles, thank you. I'm gonna end us now,
Okay.
but I just want to thank you, like not only just for the generosity of your time right now, but for like filling this critical stage. Like what you got, like when you say triage, I don't think we just even get our heads around like how much you create sanity for us to move forward and to do things in a much more predictable manner. So anyway, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate this, and so do others.
Oh, my pleasure, Nevin. Thanks for having me.